Imagine a control room. It's dark, lit only with the glow of a massive soundboard. Dozens of sliders. Each one is labeled confidence, insecurity, filter, anger, humor, fear, and right now they're all set at different levels, perfectly balanced. And a calm, focused engineer sits at the chair, listening and making tiny adjustments to make sure the final mix, the you, that the world hears and sounds is acceptable. Now imagine someone walks into that room, shoves the engineer out of his chair, and slams every single fader to the maximum. That's your brain on alcohol. This is the single most misunderstood concept about drinking. And by the end of this video, you won't see alcohol as a liquid courage. You will see it as the truth serum. And you will understand the exact mechanism in your brain that makes it an amplifier. Not the transformer, you will be able to predict human behavior with terrifying accuracy. Just a note for this isn't meant that you should give everyone a drink and then see how they act. And that's how you can maybe manipulate them or whatever. This is never the point about this. There's just something like, for example, a side quest that you can have. And this matters because we build relationships. We make business deals. We trust people based on their sober personality. You have no idea what their raw, unfiltered, and max volume self is like. That's a massive blind spot. It's like only ever tested driving a car with the governor on, never knowing what happens when you floor it. Like imagine you bought a Rolls Royce without knowing how much 0 to 60 is actually inside of it. You just bought it because you like the luxury, but you never floor it. So you never know how good the car actually can get in terms of speed. So let's take two people. Person A, the quiet, polite one at the office. Always agreeable. And after 3 drinks, he's in the corner of the bar, arguing with a stranger about politics. His face is pure beetroot red, spitting venom you never knew was in him. Your brain tries to explain it away. Oh, he's just a mean drunk. And that's the miss. That is wrong. Person B, the anxious one, the overthinker, constantly planning but never acting. After 4 shots, he's not sloppy. He's on the park bench at 2 a.m. mapping out his next 10 business moves on his phone with the focus so intense it's quite frightening. The anxiety is gone. Calculation just remains. The framework is simple, but it changes everything. And I call it the impulse application model. I know it sounds like a fancy word, but yeah. Alcohol doesn't create new impulses. It systematically dismantles the cortex or the prefrontal cortex at your front. The prefrontal cortex at your front of the brain, just as already says, it's the pre one. It's the fullest front part of your brain. And the thing is about this is, it's the one that makes most of the parts up of you, of your thoughts, of your acting, of your emotions, basically. The part of your brain that plays the engineer, basically. It's the blocker of the blocker. Because it's the one that, even in moments where you get really angry, it's the one that stops it from getting too angry. The volume knobs on your deepest instincts aren't turned up. Just turned down completely. The hand that was turning them down was been tied behind his back. Every thought, every buried impulse now has a direct line to the speaker. It doesn't stop. It is a direct full connection and doesn't stop at the prefrontal cortex. It instead just fully goes into your brain and says, you know what, let me think about it or even talk about it. And the scary part isn't the theory. The scary part is the implication. It means there's no different person in you or in anyone else that you see. When you're drunk, there's only more you. You're more honest, less managed version. And you have to ask yourself, if the real unfiltered you is kind of an asshole, what does that say about the work you need to do when you're sober? Because we all have our subconscious mind. And the interesting thing is our subconscious mind basically controls our conscious mind. And if you start to understand that your subconscious mind is an asshole and now brings out to the conscious mind just extremely that you're an asshole, it will reflect to other people. And the interesting thing is when you're sober, it will be that many people will see you as an asshole, but you give it just so slightly that those people don't feel like they need to be talking to you directly and saying that you maybe been an asshole a week ago or whatever, because they just understand that is you, or that is just how you've always been, right? So let's get back to our 2 people. The quiet guy at the bar, now yelling. The choice he's making in the moment isn't to be angry. The anger was always there. It was just simmering. The alcohol just gave it to a megaphone. The overthinking guy on the park bench, he's certainly not thinking about the bad things happening about this, but he becomes a strategist. The strategy was his core operating system all along. The alcohol just silenced the voice that kept asking, but what if I fail? Because never heard a person when he's drunk talking about what if I fail, except it's a real deep fear, like for example talking to girls or whatever. The outcome is you see their blueprints. The quiet guy has a foundation of resentment. The overthinking guy has a foundation of calculation. The numbers don't lie. Observe them for an hour in this state and you will learn more about them than the true nature in 100 sober conversations. What is very important for this is I did this on a nice way to other people and indirectly, without even knowing this, before I even knew about those studies that have shown me that that is just an amplifier, that alcohol is just an amplifier, is that many of those people I've never really saw drunk, and I knew them for maybe like half a year. And what I've done is I actually drank with them once and really saw that, for example, he was always this man guy, biggest confidence when he was sober, but then when he was drunk, he just flipped and started to just show love to everyone. He's always just walking around, kissing some people on the forehead, just being thankful for even being at the party, because that is just the true nature of it. And as another example, I have a friend that I often talk to when I'm drunk, when we have like those side quests, just walking around, and all those people at the party think we are just lost outside or whatever, but we are just talking and we have kind of a business plans that we just build out of. If I'm being completely honest, many of those decisions to talk to some specific girl or doing some business decision, like for example my email marketing agency, was foundationed on thought when being slightly drunk. So here's your action basically. The next time you are in a social situation where people are drinking, I want you to play a game. Don't just participate, you can obviously, but observe them also. Right? Watch the guy who gets handsy. And then the interesting thing is, if you then look back, the impulse that he wants to get handsy with other people, or he's always a touchy guy that always just touching you with, like, for example, when he's laughing, or when he's telling a story at you, or he's always tapping you on, I don't know, your leg, or for example, at your chest or whatever, as a male to a male, obviously. The impulse was always there, but now it's just amplified to the maximum. Watch the girl who gets clingy, always is around some kind of dude that she doesn't even really know. The need was there. With the need you can take anything from her just wanting having a good night, let's say like that, after the party, or something else, who knows. Or just having a good time to talk to a random person and just give them undisclosed and unended attention to them. And some girls love that. So watch the people who gets hyper logical. Their obsessions was always there. And there's surely some billionaires that could easily talk stories about how they got the craziest ideas for their businesses where they now got billionaires from, were from just the moment when they were drunk and talking to other people that were also hyper logical. Your brain will want to label them as a different person, or quote-unquote different person. Just resist it for what it is, a diagnostic tool, a spotlight on the foundation they have built. So their control room, it's never empty. The engineer might get knocked out for just a few hours, but the board remains. The settings are just a character. The question is, what kind of music plays when nobody's at the controls? Pay attention to others and to yourself, because the most terrifying and enlightening mirror you will ever look into might just be at the bottom of the glass. You know those thoughts when you're in the bathroom and you're sitting there and holy fuck, what the fuck am I even doing? I want to get home. That is most likely because you like to be at home. It's a very simple thought, but that is just, even though you're often at parties, when you have that moment that you, for example, sit there at the bathroom, it's your subconscious being fully active and now not having anything limiting you to just talk to yourself and saying, you know what, all this partying stuff might be cool, but I just need some time off, basically. From drinking, obviously, or from partying, from weird social gatherings that aren't worth anything. And you know that there's no business people or whatever, or some kind of people that will be worth it to basically listen to. So with that, alcohol is just an amplifier. Don't overdrink. This is not a reason for you to drink this night or any other night. I'm not here to cause any addiction. I'm not the person to even drink that much. I basically drink maybe once a month and then not a lot. So my amplification is always just keeping on the low, since I kind of understand how I'm acting when I'm drunk and now can just basically control that and have that in the conscious with having some things like, for example, confidence being just rocked up, like for example talking to a girl on vacation when you just don't even know her name or don't even know where she comes from, and out of nowhere she is from the other side of the world, because that is just a lovely thing about it. You need to learn to control that stuff. That's why drinking is interesting to learn it, but not to just keep it an everyday thing. Addiction is still bad, so don't do it. See ya.